Welcome into the vlog, Culotta and the Prince. Jordy has business to tend to, so I more than capably fill his shoes with my main man, Jimmy Chesthair. Another week down of Culotta and the Prince. Give me some of your thoughts about the performance this week.
Wow, I mean, probably one of my favorite weeks ever producing the show. I don't think that we've had this many guests on the show. I mean, today was very star-studded. You had Dylan Moses, who came in the studio, which I really believe he took up like the entire corner. This dude was so huge. Mm-hmm. But I actually wasn't really that impressed with him as much as I was impressed with his eight-year-old brother.
Yeah, his younger
grade. Yeah,
8-year-old brother Keelan sat in that chair right there, and it's the biggest eighth grader, biggest 8-year-old, not even eighth grader. Biggest second grader I've ever seen.
Yeah, so chances are, if Les Miles is watching this, he's probably already got tabs on him. They'll probably be looking at him because, I mean, that size at second grade, that dude's going to be pretty huge. We had Dylan Moses on today. We also had Eric Musselman, the new Nevada head basketball coach. Of course, he talked about leaving LSU and kind of previewed a little bit of what LSU fans can expect to see with Ben Simmons. And then we wrapped it up with the voice of the New Orleans Pelicans TV play-by-play man, Joel Myers, who's actually my personal favorite. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I could easily listen to that interview on loop just to hear his voice.
Well, we were running a little late with Coach Musselman, so I called Joel Myers, and I was like, hey, Joel, Derek. And he was like, good morning. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, it's not just for air, it's always. And then when you called him, you got the sultry tones of Joel Myers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when I called him to set up the interview, obviously, and to patch him through, I think I got Joel Myers' immediate voice, when he wakes up, which frightened me, but at the same time, it was awesome to listen to. He just basically said, good morning. Blew me away. But yeah, Joel Myers, easily one of my favorites. Former play-by-play guy of UCLA, San Antonio Spurs, Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah, the Lakers. I mean, just an awesome resume. So yeah, overall, just a really great show today. Just jam-packed.
We had a good week here. We had a lot of guests come through, like you mentioned. One guest that we didn't have an opportunity to get with was John Bucci-Gross from Sports Center. He's doing the Frozen Four. I talked with him. He said he's going to come back next week or possibly the week after that. But then there was the one caller guest. He's not a caller on our show. He's a guest on our show that called in, and we weren't able to get to him because we're in the middle of an interview with Andy Cannizaro. But Gary called earlier in the week, and it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. So when we missed the opportunity with Gary, it's one we look back on and we really kind of stress over.
Yeah, Gary called in yesterday, and we were going to talk with Andy Cannizaro. And we made the decision to keep Gary on hold for the interview. And what happened? Well, 4 or 5 minutes into the interview, Gary drops the call, and we haven't heard from him since. Culotta and I have differing opinions on what happened here. He seems to think that I scared him off with my huge Carly Rae Jepsen bit, call me maybe. And I seem to think that Gary's not going to call back because Culotta rejected him. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that's kind of the biggest mystery, heading into this week. It's not LSU baseball in Auburn this weekend. It's not LSU football in spring practice gearing up for the spring game next Saturday. Is Gary going to call back? Is he giving us the same treatment that he's giving Matt Moscono? And after further review, time will only tell, but really the ball is in Gary's court, and Gary really has all the momentum and all the power in his favor.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, but I'll add one thing here. There's one thing that I'm pretty confident in. I'm pretty confident that at some point in time next week, leading up to the National L Club Spring Game presented by Tony Chachere's, we can hear live right here on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN, pregame with Culotta and the Prince. I have a sneaking suspicion that next week we will talk about the football team, and one of the topics that we'll talk about will be those linebackers. And when that happens, that phone's going to light up.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's one weakness that we found with Gary, it's those linebackers. And I agree. Once we start talking about those linebackers, I mean, is Gary strong enough to hold off on that phone? I don't think so. And Gary, if you're watching this, I don't want you to hold back. I don't want you to fight your urge to talk about those linebackers. Because we love talking about those linebackers. Absolutely. So call in next week. So, yeah.
There's no question about it. So, for Jordy Culotta and for Jimmy Chesthair, James Harrelson, we share an office together, so it's very nice.
Yeah.
It's very nice. For my compadres here, for Cade Wazan on the other side of the camera here. We wish you a very nice weekend. We'll see you Monday morning. Doug Thompson and Corey Webster will be with us, and we'll see about maybe getting another guest. And always, Gary's call to the top of the list. It's the vlog, Culotta and the Prince. You can download the podcast, 1045 ESPN. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN.com. Have a great week. We'll see you Monday morning.